This video is just about database organization. So the way that databases are set up and actually what a database is. So there's a couple of definitions on this side about what databases are. So a database could be described as a persistent organized store of data, and it's organized into tables, which are sometimes called relations, with key fields and consistent data types. So that's the long answer. Shorter answer: collection of related, logically organized data that can be shared with several applications. So both of these are good descriptions of what a database is. So when a database looks like is organized into, as it says, tables. So a table might look like this one. This is a table for, well, very small part of a table for a second-hand car database. This database has got columns, which we call fields. So those fields across the top, we've got reg, no, make, model, etc. All across the top there. Each of those has a data type, and the design view of the data types is here. So obviously make, model, mileage, a text. So as a programmer, we might call that a string, but it's a text type as far as the database is concerned. Engine size, it's a number, so we might call that a real, because we've got 2.5, so we need decimal places, so that kind of number is a real. Cost price and sales price are down as currency, but again, that could be a real if we wanted it to be. We could describe it as a real even if it's written as currency. So currency is a data type that's often used in databases. In our rest of our programming, sometimes we would think of that as a real number. So a database is organized with a key field. So in this case, our key field is reg number. So that's called a primary key. So the primary key field has got two properties. Number one, it has to be unique. So it's unique in the database. So you can't have two primary keys that are exactly the same, because it uniquely identifies a particular entry in the database. And its second property should be minimality. So the minimality, the smallest primary key that's practical to use. So sometimes you'll see a database has put an extra field in that might be called ID, which is just a number field. You don't have to do that with a database. It is actually better practice to use one or more of a combination of the fields that exist, but often you will see an ID field that identifies something as a primary key field. So in this case, registration number, or reg no, has been used as the primary key. And for a second-hand car database, that should be okay, because all of the cars should be registered. All of them should have a unique registration number, and that should be absolutely fine. If you had a database that had new cars in as well, then registration number might not be any good as a primary key, because some brand new cars wouldn't yet be registered and they wouldn't have a registration number. In that case, you might want to use something like the vehicle identification number or something like that that's stamped on the car in the factory. But registration number works fine for this particular second-hand car database. So all of the information about one car, so all the information, that's a row. So one row is called a record. So one row there is a record. And so that's a record of all of the information that's about that particular car that's in the database. So in this case, we've only got two records in this table. That's just because a part of the table has been shown. There'll obviously be a lot more in there as well. So that's the basic organization of a database.